What's up, everybody? It's your favorite undead MC, second channel Girl Cherry here, and today I am doing something a little bit different because it's the first time I've ever done this. I'm very nervous. You can see I am live on Twitch right now, and I'm going to be breaking down some old verses of mine. Specifically, you might not know this about me, but I have a little bit of a history with Pikachu. This little fucker over here. Specifically, for the past 4 years, I have rapped 4 times as Pikachu, and only one of those has been for my own channel. People just keep hiring me to rap as the little guy, but in 2021, 22, 23, and 24, I have rapped each year a different verse about Pikachu, and I thought it would be fun today to go through some of these verses, all of these verses really, and talk a little bit about them, see how they're different, see which ones are good and which ones are bad, and see what chat thinks and what the comments think about which is my best Pikachu verse, because it's probably not going to be the last time I ever rap as Pikachu. I don't know, maybe in 2025 somebody will hire me again, maybe 4 years from now I'll have to make a part 2 from this video. But we'll see. This first verse is from all the way back in 2021. This is the first time I rapped as Pikachu. This was on my channel, my Super Smash Bros. Veterans Cypher. This is the 12 characters from the first Smash Bros. Game. And I rapped as Pikachu because I love Pokemon, and because importantly, Pikachu is my main in Smash 4 and Ultimate. And this was a song for Ultimate, really. Ultimate was pretty new when this was made. New relative to how it is now, I guess. So this is me rapping about Pikachu in the context of a Smash Bros. Character. All of these verses I'm rapping about Pikachu, I'm talking about him in a slightly different context based on what the overall song is about. So this first one is a good sort of baseline to start with. So I'm just gonna play you the verse in whole, I think, and then I'll start talking about it.
Who be stopping me, nobody popping me, never running out of air like I'm shady. I be a convertible, call me the baby, and people be saying I stuck, but it's how I be getting the ladies, yeah.
Knock you back, I'll recover fast. I ain't never had to wonder that. Gonna leave your people understaffed when your red cheeks get thunderclapped. I ain't one to brag, but I'm top tier. If an ops here, then they losing. I've been known to throw around fear, hear the crowd cheer when they choose me. Speed up on the beat, I'm on a quick attack. You can try to land a hit, but I'm a sleep right fast. And if you're thinking, get it to the crisp and hash, you get serious and turn around like bitch, that's cat. Everything you here to play, but all the people know. When I get a blessing off, you said the ring gon' glow. And if you should wanna tell me that it don't strike twice, that I'll end this fight in a single blow.
Assaulting back since 81 and I got ops looking.
So the first thing you might notice about this verse is that my name is still Cola Kong. I didn't become Dead Girl Cherry until about a year ago. I was going by Cola Kong until then. So the first like 3 of these 4 verses are gonna be under the name Cola Kong. Don't worry, that's still me. But I start by saying, knock me back, I'll recover fast. I ain't never had to wonder that. That was like the first verse, or the first bar I wrote for this verse, was talking about Pikachu's recovery in Smash Bros. And then I say, when your red cheeks get thunderclapped. I really like that bar, because Pikachu's known for having those little red cheeks on his face. But when you clap someone's cheeks, like their butt, it gets sore and red. So that's me saying, I'm gonna thunderclap your cheeks so hard that they turn red like my cheeks on my face. I don't know, I thought that was cute. It's a fun one.
Gonna leave your people understaffed when your red cheeks get thunderclapped. I ain't one to brag, but I'm top tier. If an ops here, then they losing.
That's literally true. Pikachu is like S tier in this game.
I've been known to throw around fear, hear the crowd cheer when they choose me.
That's a reference to Pikachu I Choose You, which Ash says a lot in the anime.
Beat up on the beat, I'm on a quick attack. You can try to land a hit, but I'm a sleep right fast. And if you're thinking, get it to the crisp and hash, you get serious and turn around like bitch, that's cat.
That's another bar I really like from this verse. If you don't think you're getting turned to crisp and ash, I get serious and turn around like bitch, that's Cap. Ash, when he gets serious in the Pokemon anime, will take his cap and turn it backwards. So if you don't think you're getting turned to Ash, I get serious and turn around like that's Cap. I thought that was fun. You think I'm here to play But All the People? No. That's a reference to Team Rocket twinkling in the stars when they get blasted off by Pikachu's Thunderbolt. I like that one too. If you still want to tell me that I don't strike twice, then I'll end this fight in a single blow. There's the reference that saying that thunder never strikes the same place twice, or rather, lightning never strikes the same place twice. But I say if you want to tell me that I don't strike twice, that's fine. I'll strike once and end this fight in just one blow. I don't know. I thought this verse was fun. It's a really quick one, honestly. I don't talk a lot here. I tried to do some fast stuff because Pikachu is a fast character and he's an electric type. And so I said speed up on the beat, I'm on a quick attack. Quick attack being Pikachu's up B in this game. But there's not a ton to break down. All of the bars are pretty like apparent at first listen, I feel like. There's a few that are a little bit of a stretch maybe. But I feel like this is a good baseline verse for how my Pikachu career started, and this was all the way back in 2021. Now we move on to early 2022, when Pure Chaos hired me to rap as Pikachu in his Gen 1 starters song. It's not really a Cypher per se, because there's only 4 of us on this one, which typically you think of the starters as Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle, but some people include Pikachu and Eevee in that list. I really don't think they count as starters, but I think they're kind of in their own category. But in Pokemon Yellow, which is a Gen 1 game, you do start with a Pikachu instead of with Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle. So Chaos hired me to play Pikachu on this, I almost said Cypher again, Pikachu on this song. And of course I obliged because I'm always down to rap about Pokemon. So once again, I'm going to let you listen to the verse and then we'll talk about it.
Ain't a Game Boy, sure enough. Think it was made of metal, could you turn to rust? When my game's getting lippy, gotta word 'em up. I got some just 2 Squirtle for the Squirtle Club.
Bitch, I'm the OG, I'm the poster boy. Move slowly, now I just go for gold. Your whole team, get a smoke for sure. I'm on your tail like the overworld, you know me. Where you're up the scene, steps of me, boy, you may get to see. Extra mean, and I got the recipe, so rest in peace. Scrap with electric beans. Now hold up before I get too deep in the sauce. I'm the only one you never really need to evolve. Got a shot in store for rockets, I'll be keeping the loss. Fucking up a couple runs and then defeating the boss. Where I carry the team, think I've been breaking my back. Then way around the block, back dishing with that. Took y'all 3 games just to make it a smash, but I've been repping Gen 1, taking it back for real.
Once again, the first thing you may notice is that this verse doesn't sound great. The mix ate me up a tiny bit, but I think the main problem was my delivery. I'm not super proud of how I rapped this verse. I promise they get better. The next 2 are better than the first 2 for sure, just by the nature of time passing and me getting better at the things I do. But I'm not a huge fan of how I rapped this verse. You may also notice that the very first thing I did was rhyme Poster Boy with Go for Gold. I remember the group chat kind of lighting me up when I sent my lyrics, and they were like, the fuck? You trying to rhyme Poster Boy with what? That doesn't rhyme at all. I believe I tweeted once, Dead Girl Cherry is the queen of slant rhymes, so fucking slanted that you have to tilt your listening device 45 degrees just for them to make sense on beat. I don't know. I think I inflected in such a way that you don't really notice it when it's on beat. Hopefully, only once I pointed it out did you notice that that's a really slanted rhyme. But maybe you did notice and you were like, that doesn't sound good.
Bitch, I'm the OG, I'm the poster boy.
That's true. Pikachu is the face of Pokemon. So once again, last time I was rapping about Smash, this time I'm rapping about him in the context of the Gen 1 starters. So I'm talking about, among other Pokemon, Pikachu's the poster boy. He's the face of the brand. He's the favorite.
Move slowly, now I just go for gold. Your whole team, get a smoke for sure. I'm on your tail like the overworld, you know me.
That's a reference to in Pokemon Yellow in Gen 1 when Pikachu follows behind you in the overworld. He's on your tail, like I'm catching up to you, but he literally follows behind you when you walk around in the overworld. So I'm on your tail like the overworld. And then this part, there's not really a lot of bars here. I just really liked the way that I rhymed.
Where you're up the scene, steps of me, boy, you may get to see. Extra mean, and I got the recipe, so rest in peace. Scrap with electric beans. Now hold up before I get too deep in the sauce.
I really like ya-da-da-da-da. I was playing around with the ad-libs on this verse. I was still kind of new to doing ad-libs, I guess, at all. Yeah, to be honest, ad-libs are still something that are kind of difficult for me. They just don't come naturally to me. I oftentimes, contrary to their name, I don't ad-lib them. I have to like actively think about what I'm going to record before I record it, and where each ad-lib is gonna fall. Sometimes they come more naturally to me. Sometimes they stress me out. It really depends on the verse and how much I'm feeling it that day. But sometimes I will literally write my ad-libs before doing them, which is not what an ad-lib is. But I think in this verse, they're kind of present in the mix more so than I usually like my ad-libs to be, but I think I did an okay job on them. Hold up before I get too deep in the sauce. I'm the only one you never really need to evolve. That's true about Pikachu more than it's true about any other starter, is that you can't evolve Pikachu in Pokemon Yellow. Whereas any other starter, you're gonna want them on stage 3 if you're gonna play through the actual game with them. Pikachu doesn't evolve. He can't evolve because he doesn't need to. So I chose to kind of brag about that. And then I talk about Team Rocket for a second.
Got a shot into Rocket, they'll be keeping the loss. Fucking up a couple runs and then defeating the boss. We carry the team, think I've been breaking my back. Then way around the block, back chasing with that.
Well, I get really echoey here. That's a bit strange. Yeah, I talk about Ash, been way around the block. Pikachu's been through every region, except for Paldea, but Paldea didn't exist when I wrote this verse. So every region that existed at the time, he's been way around the block, bag chasing with Ash. And then I talk about Smash Bros, because of course I do.
Took y'all 3 games just to make it to Smash, but I've been repping Gen 1, taking it back for real.
Took y'all 3 games just to make it to Smash, but I've been repping Gen 1. Pikachu, like we just established, was in the very first Smash Bros. Game, whereas Ivysaur, Squirtle, and Charizard are in Smash now, but it took them till Brawl, which is the 3rd Smash game. Pikachu's been there from the beginning. He's been repping Gen 1 the whole time. And then I say for real. That was from a kind of short-lived era, honestly, where I was trying to make for real like my tag. Like 954 Mari's Talk, or Kyo's Lil Bitch, or Grayson's Slash. I was trying to end all of my verses with me saying for real, and I'm kind of glad I stopped doing it when I did, because the for real ended up getting in the way more than anything. It was kind of cringe. It ended up taking up space when I could have just said something else or nothing at all, and it would have flowed better. So if you're wondering, hey Cherry, why did you say for real so much for a while and then stop completely? It was a failed attempt at branding that never went anywhere, because it wasn't that great to begin with. Then we go to 2023, when my bestie Afro Legacy hired me to rap in his Lightning Users Cypher. Featuring Gigs to Prophecy, Hastic, Politicus, and more. This is the biggest Cypher that we'll be looking at in this list. They're all Cyphers, except for the Gen 1 starters, which is like one person away from being a Cypher. It's a Cypher in spirit. You know what I mean. But yeah, this is when the pattern really started to emerge of like, why am I rapping as Pikachu a 3rd time? And then people just started to embrace it, and I think it's funny, and now it's almost a running joke at this point. But I'm gonna play you the verse, and then I'll talk about it.
The whole time I've been dreaming, I'm not even scheming, just played it by earman. I'm not even plotting, just taking my shots. See how you gonna copy when I'm on your lock screen? You cannot stop me, I'll be at the top. See way I got hard, I'ma be hitting Godspeed.
Okay, first of all, never see me caught up in a Pokeball. Can I go flash on a Porygon and see the red and the blue like you broke the law? Huh. Wait, what? Can't touch this unless you want that static. Sparks may fly when I get dramatic. Bands too thin as you can't max that shit. Bitch, slack talk gets old. Fuck with me, you'll catch rounds like let's go. Rocket coming, but they blast off tenfold. Top of the summit, shout sacks from tempo. Rumble low through each region. You can give the Thunderstone, I don't need it. Even if I come alone, you'll catch 100 blows and still run the show till next season.
Zoldig, shit, you know who to go, bitch. Speak.
Okay, so this is an anime cipher, not a video game song like the last 2 have been. So I was rapping about Ash's Pikachu specifically. So I start with, first of all, never see me caught up in a Pokeball, because Ash's Pikachu famously hates to be in the Pokeball. He likes to be out and ride around on Ash's shoulder and shit. And then I move on to say one of the craziest things I've ever said on beat.
Never see me caught up in a Pokeball. Can I go flash on a Porygon and see the red and the blue like you broke the law? Huh.
So if you don't know what that's a reference to, I don't blame you. But now I have to explain it, and it's going to make me sound like a psychopath for referencing it on beat. In the 90s, there was an episode of the Pokemon anime called like Electric Soldier Porygon or something like that, wherein at some point Team Rocket shoots like a missile, and Pikachu shoots a thunderbolt at the missile, and the resulting explosion causes a flash of red and blue on the screen so fast that it gave a lot of epileptic children in Japan literal seizures, and they ended up in like the hospital and shit. And ever since then, Porygon has been banned from the anime. It and all of its evolutions have like never shown up in the anime, even though the episode was about Porygon, but the explosion was Pikachu's fault. It was not Porygon's fault. But just by like resulting, because they couldn't ban Pikachu from the anime, so Porygon and Porygon 2 and Z have not shown up in the anime at all since then. They're like, the damage has been done. You guys go in timeout, sit in the corner. And for some reason, I decided to reference that. So I feel a little bit like a terrible person when I explain this part. But yeah, Cannon Gun Flash on a Porygon ass, you see the red and the blue like you broke the law. Because police sirens are red and blue if you break the law in the not the ambulance, but the police come after you. But also the red and blue flash from the explosion in the Porygon episode. I don't know. I started this verse with "Never see me caught up in a Pokeball" because I thought that was a cool thing to say. And then "Broke the Law" rhymed with that, and for some reason my brain went to the Porygon episode, and that's where it landed. Was, yeah, you should totally reference that, Cherry. So, I'd like to apologize formally to anyone who may have been offended by that. I don't even blame you that much, really. I'm sorry. Let's talk about the rest of this verse now.
Wait, what? Can't touch this unless you want that static.
Okay, that's something I learned from Politicus, actually. That, wait, what? Peso Pete, actually, is also really good at doing that. Letting your bars like breathe. For a long time I was really, really bad at that. But not every bar has to be filled with like syllables on syllables on syllables. You can just kind of fill a bar with something that sounds cool for a second and not stress about the I don't know how to explain it. I'm doing a bad job of explaining it. Hopefully you know what I mean. But just letting your bars breathe for a second, especially after I made a crazy bar like that I'm sure not a lot of people understood until I explained it, but even still, I said some crazy shit, to be honest. And then I say, sparks may fly when I get dramatic.
Sparks may fly when I get dramatic. Bands too thin, as you can max that shit, bitch.
Also, the don't touch this unless you want that static.
Red and the blue like you broke the law, huh? Wait, what? Can't touch this unless you want that static.
That's a reference to Pikachu's ability, or one of his abilities anyway, which is static, which is if you touch him, there's a chance you might get paralyzed. So you can't touch this unless you want the static, but also wanting the static means like wanting the smoke, wanting to fight. So can't touch this unless you're ready for a fight, but also I got the static, you might get paralyzed if you literally touch this. And then we have bands too thin, I Gigantamax that shit, which I liked because obviously Pikachu's bands are never too thin. He's the richest Pokemon in an incredibly rich series. Pokemon makes so much money, and he's the mascot of all of it. But Gigantamax was new, and we're talking about Ash's Pokemon, and or talking about Ash's Pikachu, and he Gigantamaxes in that one episode. So
Sparks may fly when I get dramatic. Bands too thin, as you can max that shit, bitch. Sled talk gets old. Fuck with me, you'll catch rounds like let's go.
I really liked that bar. Fuck with me, you'll catch rounds like Let's Go. Because in Pokemon Let's Go, which is almost like not a spin-off, like a weird tie-in with Pokemon Go, the mobile game, you don't fight wild Pokemon. You only catch them by throwing Pokeballs at them. You can't use moves or anything. And I really like in rap culture, I think it's funny when anything that is round is referred to as a round, like of ammunition. So throwing a Pokeball at you, you fuck with me, you'll catch rounds like in Let's Go. And apparently other people liked that verse, or liked that bar too, because when Afro was promoting this cipher, he, on like Twitter, when he was posting who played each character, he would also post one bar from their verse, and he chose for my post the "fuck with me, you'll catch arounds like let's go" bar. And then I remember even someone in the comments of that was like, "Oh, that's a really good bar," and it made me feel good about myself. Talk about Rocket Blast Off again. And then Top of the Summit shouts Axe from Tempo. So this is another a little bit of a loaded one. Axe from Tempo is a Smash Bros. Melee player. Tempo is the team, Axe is the player. And Axe is a Pikachu main, even though I said earlier in Ultimate he's top tier. In Melee, Pikachu is not considered very good. But when this song was new, Axe had just won the Summit tournament using Pikachu, the tournament called Summit, and it blew a lot of people's minds because, like I said, Pikachu's not considered very good, but Axe was able to win with him anyway. So he said, yeah, Pikachu's top of the Summit, just like Axe from Tempo, who won Summit using Pikachu. And I remember I posted that on Twitter. I posted that clip, and I added Axe, saying like, hey Axe, I referenced you in a rap song, don't you think that's cool? To get some engagement. And a bunch of like Axe fans saw it and went and commented on this video. So you're welcome, Afro Legacy, for all the engagement I gave you by tweeting about that Axe bar I made one time. And then we have this.
Through each region, you can keep the Thunderstone, I don't need it. Even if I come alone, you'll catch 100 blows and still run the show till next season.
I remember the first bar I wrote for that scheme was, you can keep the Thunderstone, I don't need it. Like I talked about last time, Pikachu doesn't need to evolve, he's too cool. In the anime, he literally rejects the Thunderstone, saying, I don't want to evolve, I want to stay a Pikachu. So you can keep the Thunderstone, I don't need it. I'm strong enough as a Pikachu already. And then I continued rhyming shit. Rumble low through each region, like the rumble of thunder. You can keep the Thunderstone, I don't need it. Catch 100 blows and still I'll run the show till next season. Because at this point, it had already been confirmed, I believe, that Ash and Pikachu wouldn't be the stars of Paldea. So yeah, he'll continue to run the show until next season when somebody else takes over. Even though there is a prominent Pikachu character in the new anime, it's not Ash's Pikachu, which is the character I was rapping as this time. And then we move on to 2024, which is another Lightning user cipher, this time by O-Rain. This is my first Pikachu verse as Dead Girl Cherry, the first one that came out since I changed my name. But this one is interesting because it's another Lightning cipher, because O-Rain literally saw Afro Legacy cipher, saw that I was Pikachu, and was like, oh, I'm planning a Lightning cipher. I'm gonna get the same rapper to do Pikachu on that one as is on this one. Which meant I had to rap about Pikachu in the same context again, which was interesting, because each time I've kind of been able to switch up the context in which I'm talking about Pikachu. This one I had to do it twice in a row, the same stuff, so I was a little bit worried that I was going to run out of like good Pikachu and electricity bars. But I think I was able to mix it up enough that it still sounds fresh. So once again, I'll let you listen to the verse.
Okay, first of all, I'm back on the stage like a curtain call. Rain hit my line for a verse for y'all. You already know I had to return the call. Cause I'm Thunder, baby. Face of the brand still underrated. Name on the box cause I run the game, but that don't mean Pika come to play. Think fast. The Zap Rat's back in action. Hit him with a flash fast, get it crack-a-lackin'. If you're coming for the scrap, then you catch the static. Cosplay drip and the fashion lavish. Talk shit, can't cap to the captain. Cheeks red when I thunderclap on your asses. Follow my dream to the top of the league. You won't catch me, relax till it actually happens. Electricity flowing through my veins.
So you might notice that I started with, okay, first of all, which is exactly what I started with in Afro Legacy's Lightning user cipher. That was on purpose. Rain said, I hired you on this one because you were Pikachu on the other one. And I said, okay, I'm going to directly reference it. So I said, okay, first of all, I'm back on the stage like a curtain call. Because I'm literally back rapping as Pikachu after just doing it on the other one last year. And then I say, Rain hit my line for a verse for y'all. You already know I had to return the call. Why's that? Because I'm Thunder, baby. Which I really like because lightning and thunder come after rain. The name of the person who organized this cipher is Rain. Rain hit my line. Of course I had to return the call because I'm Thunder. I'm Pikachu. I'm the electric one. I thought that was clever. I don't know.
Okay, first of all, I'm back on the stage like a curtain call. Rain hit my line for a verse for y'all. You already know I had to return the call. Cause I'm Thunder, baby. Face of the brand still underrated. Name on the box cause I run the game, but that don't mean Pika come to play.
Name on the box because I run the game, but that don't mean Pika come to play. And face of the brand still underrated is me bragging about being the mascot of like the most lucrative brand ever. Or at least the most lucrative like media brand. Also, I don't like how I said box there. Like, yes, his face is literally on the box of the video games, but turns out saying box cuz on beat is hard. So it sounded like I said like boss instead of box. I don't like how I said that. Anyway, let's not think about it too hard. This next bit is the first thing I wrote for this verse. I thought it would be fun to rhyme with crack-a-lackin', so I did. This was the first bit I wrote for this whole verse.
Think fast, the Zap Rat's back in action. Hit him with the flash fast, get it crack-a-lackin'. If you're coming for the scrap, then you catch the static.
Referring to Pikachu as the Zap Rat was funny to me. Back in action, because again, this is the second time I'm the fourth time I'm rapping as Pikachu total. I talk about static again, come for the scrap, then you catch the static, and then I say cosplay drip in the fashion lavish.
Cosplay drip in the fashion lavish.
Which is a reference to cosplay Pikachu from Pokemon Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. This is another one of a little bit of a deep pull, but if you know what it is, then the bar's not deep at all, it's really a surface level thing. In Oraz, there was this one Pikachu that you could get who could cosplay in like different outfits, and each outfit would give it a different move that Pikachu's not normally able to learn. So I'm referencing cosplay Pikachu there. And then I say, talk shit can't capture the captain, which is a reference to Captain Pikachu from, like I said, the new season of the anime, not Ash's Pikachu, a different Pikachu, who wears a little captain's hat and literally flies a ship. So I say can't cap to the captain because he wears a hat, but I'm referring to Pikachu as you get it, it's not that hard.
Talk shit can't cap to the captain. Cheeks red when I thunderclap on your asses.
Cheeks red when I thunderclap on your asses is literally me recycling that bar I talked about from the Smash Bros. Cypher 4 years ago. It's been long enough where I feel like I'm allowed to use it again. It already rhymed. Thunderclap on your asses rhymed with crack-a-lackin'. Which is what I was rhyming for this scheme anyway. It's my bar. I'm allowed to steal my own bar, okay? It's allowed. And then I say this, which is, I just think, a cool way to end the verse.
Follow my dream to the top of the league. You won't catch me relaxed till it actually happens.
You won't catch me relaxed till it actually happens. I thought it's cool. Like, I'm not gonna rest until I literally win the league with Ash, which he did, by the way. And that's why he got to retire, I guess. But yeah, I always try to make the first bar and the last bar of each verse I do memorable. If I have something really interesting to say, hopefully it'll go in one of those two places, because I want it, I want the verse to flow well, of course, but I also want to leave you with some kind of interesting impression, so I try to make my last bars memorable. So yeah, that was every time I've rapped as Pikachu over the last 4 years so far. Like I said, any second now somebody could hire me for another Pikachu verse, and I might have to make an addendum to this video in a few years if it keeps happening enough times. Who knows? But I think 4 times is enough to warrant me making a breakdown video about all my Pikachu verses to see how I've evolved, unlike Pikachu who fucking refuses to evolve. Please tell me in the comments which one was your favorite verse and why. I like to think the most recent 2 are the best just because I've gotten better at rapping since I wrote the first 2. But who knows? Somebody might have a better or a different idea of what my best Pikachu verse was. So thank you so much for sticking around. The links to all of these songs will be in the description of this video if you want to see them for yourself. I definitely recommend it. Especially my one. I know it's old, but I put a lot of work into that Cypher. I think it's pretty good still. It holds up. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye!